Dan Harris. This time on Beliefs, we're going to go deep into the world of Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's been called the father of motivation. He's one of the preeminent proponents of the power of positive thinking. He's been talking about this stuff for decades. But there's a twist. Recently, Dr. Dyer has had a major crisis in his own life. So we're going to ask him how he can explain that and how he's dealing with it, given his philosophy. But first, we're going to get into his worldview. So what is the shift?
The shift is the movement away from the ego into living a life of meaning. This movie was originally titled From Ambition to Meaning. And the morning of our life, the early part of our life, we're almost conditioned to believe that who we are is what we are able to collect and what we do and what other people think of us, and to evaluate our essence and who we are as human beings on the basis of how well we're received by others, how much we accumulate, how far ahead we get, and so on. But there's something that's very missing in that, and that is what we call meaning. The great hunger. The real great hunger, the Bush tribesman said, is the hunger for meaning, to know that your life is on purpose. And if your life is all about what you accumulate and how much you win, and what other people think of you, you get a great reputation. The problem with that is that if you are what you do, then when you don't, you aren't. And when you are what you have, when it disappears, your essence as a human being disappears as well. And the shift is really an attempt to teach people what Carl Jung called what happens to you when you move into the afternoon of your life, which is you begin to focus not so much on what the ego says, which is what's in it for me and how much can I get and how far ahead am I of everybody else, versus the mantra of the higher self, the spiritual self, is how may I serve? God realization, thinking like God thinks.
This all sounds great. I'm sure that everybody around me, for example, would love me to have a smaller ego. But how do you do it practically?
The Dalai Lama once said that if we could take every child on this planet and teach them to meditate on compassion for 1 hour a week, just 1 hour a week, in one generation, we could eliminate all violence on the planet. Just teaching people to put their focus on reaching out and having compassion for others. And that's really what happens as you begin to leave the ego behind. It's been the focus of my life. I had a huge ego. I think the great best story about ego ever that I had was when I wrote a book back in the 70s called Your Erroneous Zones, which was all over the bestseller lists at the top for months and months and months, years actually.
I can remember calling my wife, and I would call her every Wednesday because she knew how to get where it was going to be the following Sunday. And I called her up and said, where am I on the bestseller list next week? And she said, you're not on the bestseller list next week. And I said, how can that be? It was whatever, it was number 3 or number 1 the week before. How could that be? She said, your book is on the bestseller list.
And to make a distinction between what it is that you're out there doing and who you are as a person.
I have, and a lot of people who are watching this have very competitive jobs. How are you advising that we should quit our jobs, or how do we make this shift that you're talking about and stay in the lives that we have thus far?
I would advise anyone to quit a job that doesn't give them fulfillment and doesn't make them feel like they're living their life on purpose. I think that if you don't quit it, it'll quit you. It'll take you down. If you'll see the results of it in higher blood pressure, and you'll see the results of it in all kinds of sicknesses and weaknesses and breakup in relationships and all of the things that make for very unhappy people. And what it is that it's like, what did you come here to do? There's a calling that every single person has in this world, and the idea that you have to be in competition with somebody else in order to feel good about yourself or in order to have the life that you want is just a myth. It's a meme. It's a cultural belief system that has been handed down. And I left that whole world of competition behind. I don't think there's anybody else out there on this planet that I'm in competition with. All of the people who are doing what they do to help improve the quality of life for other people are on the same team I'm on. And once I left that competitive world behind of trying to win and defeat and get better than everybody else, it started chasing after me. And I all of the things that I wanted, you know, the prestige, the money, the positions, and all of that, all of those things have come, and even the amount of money. I make more money now than I've ever even dreamt that I could possibly make when I was in that competitive part of my life. And when you let go of it, you know, in the recovery movement, and I'm a part of it, in the recovery movement we say, let go and let God. You know, allow the great divine Tao, the divine mind, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it, allow it to be the guiding force in your life. And everything that you were chasing after before very likely will come chasing after you. It's a hard thing for people to believe, because we think we have to chase after it, we have to grasp it, we have to get a hold of it, we have to fight it. For me, it doesn't work that way.
So are you saying that we can get whatever we want, from money to health to relationships, if we just think the right way?
I don't think it's the money that is going to give us the happiness. That's more of that morning of the afternoon stuff. I think that we can have, if I had two wands, and wand A, I was to hand you and say, with this wand, you can get anything you want. You want a brand new Mercedes in your driveway, you want a nice new Rolex on your heart, whatever it is that you want, you wave this wand, it's like Aladdin's lamp, and you can have it. In lieu of that, I say, I'll take that back, I'll give you wand B. And with wand B, I can guarantee you that for the rest of your life, you'll have inner peace. You'll be able to feel fulfilled no matter what. Which one would you take? Which one would you take?
I would take B.
B. And B is not going to be that you're going to get everything you want, but you are going to be able to process everything that comes your way in a way that's going to bring you a sense of inner peace. So that even the negatives, even the hardest stuff. My friend Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, before she passed away, she had a wonderful line. You know, she said, if you shield the mountain from the windstorms, you'll never see the beauty of the carvings. You know, so that the things that you want, and when they doesn't show up, it doesn't show up on time. When there are obstacles, when there are falls, instead of you saying, why do I have to be suffering? Why is this happening to me? You have a totally different perception of it, and you begin to say, these are things that are happening to me, and I'm going to look back on it. Like I've been 20-some years without having a drink. I don't look back on my drinking days as things, terrible things, and wish they hadn't happened. They were very helpful in helping me to overcome, you know, any addictions that I had later on in my life. I look back on all of it with appreciation and gratitude. It's just the way I approach life.
There's a great quote in your movie that we're always striving and never arriving.
Yeah, and most people spend their lives doing exactly that, you know, trying to get someplace else. And if your thoughts are always on where I'm going to be, I'm going to finally arrive when I make a certain amount of money, when I get that position, you know, when I get that house that I want, when I, you know, what you realize that what is happening for you, that life is what's happening to you while you're making other plans. You know, this is your life, this moment, what we're doing right here, right now. Each and every person watching this is what it is. And for you to be using up this present moment, trying to consume yourself with what's going to happen to you down the road, or feeling guilty about all of the things that you didn't do, is just to waste the only gift that you've been given, which is the present moment of your life.
But that involves a leap of faith, because if I let go and try to live in harmony, as you say, there's nothing to stop me from driving out of here and getting hit by a car.
That happens to people all the time, and that could be your dharma. It could be exactly what what the end of your life looks like. But if you spend your life worrying about it, it's just not possible to worry about something that you have control over or you don't have control over.
So do you not spend any time worrying?
No, I don't. I don't live in a world of worry at all.
As we said, Dr. Dyer has recently gone through a major crisis in his personal life, a health crisis. Coming up, we're going to talk to him about how he can explain that, given his belief in the power of positive thinking.